Good morning, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's Facebook Live, where we are going to craft with the Gnome for the Holiday stamp set, but we are not going to make a holiday card. I'm just pulling you guys up on my iPad here. Okay. All right. So I always start with I try to, when I remember, I try to start with the winner from last week's Facebook Live. And Dixie is the winner of this fun card, and I believe I have her address, so I will pop that in the mail for her today. Congratulations. For those of you who are new, my name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and every Friday, or most Fridays, at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I go live with a crafting project. And I try, if it's a card or a mailable 3D project, I always try to give that project away. And the way that you can get entered is by commenting on the video, participating in the conversation. Sharing gets you 5 entries. So there's several ways that you can get your name entered. All right, and I appreciate all of the shares, all of the comments, especially while I'm doing this live, because I'm talking and it just makes me feel like I'm talking to somebody rather than just sitting here talking to myself. Okay, so today we are going to craft with the Gnome for the Holidays, and this is such a cute, cute set. And it's obviously Christmas themed, but we are going to create a birthday card with it today. And it's super cute. I can't wait to share it with you. Hey, Sheila. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We are also going to do a little technique as well. So a simple technique, but one that might be new to some of you. Okay, where should I get started here? Okay, if you want to craft along with me, let me go through the pieces that I have here. Okay, I'm using a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock. This measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Good morning, Amy. So that's going to be our card base. Then I've got a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 inch cardstock. This is Seaside Spray. Good morning, Kevin. This piece is Misty Moonlight. It measures 3 3/4 by 5. And then I've got a piece of Whisper White that measures about 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. I've got another scrap for some stamping, and I've got a scrap of the plaid DSP, the plaid tidings DSP. This is one of the pattern papers that is on sale for 15% off right now. And I will post a link to the file in the description above, afterwards, or below if you're watching the replay on YouTube, to that file so that you can check out all the pattern papers that are on sale. Okay, that's only until the end of the month, and there's some fabulous ones. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Shirley. All right, so for those of you who are just joining in, we are creating with the Gnome for the Holidays stamp set this morning, but we are not making a Christmas card. We are making a birthday card. Okay, so let's do the stuff that we need to do with the die cutting machine first. Okay, I'm going to slide all this stuff out of the way. These are the 2 pieces that I need. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm going to use one of my favorite die sets. This is called Tasteful Labels. So this one here, I probably should have showed you before I moved in this monstrosity. And I'm going to use this shaped die. And I'm going to cut out a little window from the center of this Misty Moonlight piece. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up, try to make sure that it's somewhat centered and straight, and then run that through. So how's everybody doing today? Okay, so this gives me 2 pieces. It gives me the negative space, which is what we're going to use on the card today. And then it also gives me this piece, and I don't know how well you guys can see on camera, but it's got this beautiful detailing around the edges. It's so pretty, but we're not going to use this on this project today. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my regular platform, and I'm going to use the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And this is one of our newer 3D embossing folders. So I don't need any of these clear mats. I need this gray mat. So I'm just going to put my cardstock in between there, the gray mat on top, and then feed it through. I'm trying to go slow so that I don't wiggle too much because it wobbles my whole table, and I've been noticing that it wobbles the camera, and it's kind of annoying. Okay, there we go. We can move this out of the way. We're all done. So now I've got this really pretty embossed piece of cardstock with a window in it. Okay, let's set these things aside. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in that larger piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to use one of our masks. This one is current. For those who watched my video on Tuesday, my scrapbooking video with this month's Paper Pumpkin kit, I used a retired mask. I apologize, I didn't check before I went live, and it is retired. This one is current. So it's a fabulous little polka dots. You can't go wrong with polka dots. So I'm just going to position that on there, and I'm going to bring in some Seaside Spray ink and one of my makeup brushes that I've really been enjoying. I've had them for a while, and I have not used them very much. So lately I've been pulling them out to use, and I'm quite enjoying them. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure that that's pretty straight. And then I'm going to just tap this in here and just lightly brush. I'm not looking for a very consistent or dark pattern. I'm looking for a very subtle background. So then I'm just going to lift it up and just see. Probably use a little bit more. All right, so let me bring that a little closer so you guys can see. And I didn't go all the way to the edges, and this is going to go behind my window, so I didn't necessarily need to go all the way around the edges. Good morning, Christine. Okay, so we can set that aside. This is going to go behind here. So I'm just going to use some flat adhesive, so some of my seal. Put a little bit of adhesive around the edges. Good morning, Helena from Nova Scotia. And we'll pop that on there just like that. And then this piece can go onto the Seaside Spray. Ooh. Just in the center, with about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And then this is going to go on in the center of our card base. Good morning, Mom. For those of you who are demonstrators and are registered for OnStage, been noticing that people are posting that they got their OnStage package. I haven't got mine yet, although I haven't checked my mail. So, all right. Okay, so that's going to be the base of our card. Now let's work on our focal point. So I've got a piece of Whisper White scrap here, and I'm going to take this little gnome right here and use Memento ink and stamp him onto the white cardstock. And then this scrap piece of cardstock, I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper here because I want to stamp it again. And this is the technique that I was telling you guys about. This is called paper piecing. So not paper piercing, but paper piecing. So I've stamped, it's really just the hat that I'm interested in for this. And so I just stamped the hat with Memento ink onto a piece of patterned paper, and you'll see what I do with it in a second. Slide this out of the way. Okay, so before we do that, let's color this guy in. So I am going to use, some light petal pink for the little bit of his face that you can see, his nose, and his hands. Then I'm going to use a little bit of, let's do his beard. No, let's do his shoes in crumb cake. So I'm just going to add a little bit of light crumb cake, and I'll go back, do a little bit of dark. Are you all settled in your house, Amy? And then blend just a little bit with the light. And then I'm going to do his beard in smoky slate. So I'm just going to add just a hint of the dark in some areas. A little bit down here. And fill in the rest with the light. So if you guys like this stamp set, this is a stamp set that I'm using for this month's treasure box. And what my treasure box is every month I pick a stamp set and create some projects with it. And included in the fee is the stamp set and all the pre-cut supplies to create 6 cards, 2 each of 3 different designs, and then there's always some alternates as well. And I've got quite a few alternates or bonus ideas. Okay, so we've got his beard done, and now I'm going to do his little outfit. And I'm going to use light Misty Moonlight for this. So the deadline for this month's treasure box is Sunday. So there's still a couple days left to get in on it. I will post a link to all the information, but it's $45 plus $5 for shipping if you need shipping, if you need it shipped. Okay, and I'm not going to bother coloring his hat or the little bell. So he's all colored in, and then he needs to be fussy cut, but I've gone ahead and done that, so you don't need to watch me fussy cut. Okay, but when I fussy cut it, I eliminated the bell because we're making a birthday card. I didn't want to add the bell. I mean, you could still do a bell on a birthday hat, but I chose to cut it off. And then this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right on the line. So if you look at this, normally when I fussy cut, I leave a little bit of a white border or a little bit of a border around the edges. But when you're paper piecing, you want to cut right on that stamped line. So, and I'm just cutting out his hat. And I'm going to omit the bell again. So this is different than paper piercing. Paper piercing is when you take your paper piercing tool and you poke holes in your card. So this is called paper piecing. Okay, almost done here. Just along the bottom left. I find you have to be a little bit more careful when you fussy cut this way. Okay, so there we go. You can see that it's cut right on the line. So you can't see any of the blue around the outside. And then this is going to get a little bit of adhesive and it's going to get put right on top. So now he's got this fun patterned hat. And you can do this with any patterned paper and create some really fun looks. There we go. Isn't he cute? Okay, so he's going to get added to our card base with some dimensionals. We're going to pop him up. And let's use a strip here. Yep. And then we will do something to make it a little bit more birthday-ish. So on his hat, he does still have snowflakes, but that doesn't mean that you can't use it for birthdays, because people still have birthdays in the winter, right? So this is kind of a winter birthday theme. And what you can do if you didn't want the snowflakes on there, if you wanted to be able to use it any time of the year, what you can do is use your Stampin' Write marker, your black Stampin' Write marker, and just ink up the outside of the hat, and then you won't get those little snowflakes, that little detail in the center. So if you just ink up the border of the hat and then stamp it down onto a piece of patterned paper, then it won't have the snowflakes. So then you can use it any time of the year. Okay, so now let's make it a little bit more of a birthday theme. So I've got some Melon Mambo cardstock because this little stripe is Melon Mambo. And just think, with this plaid paper, you could really do there's so many different color combinations that you could do with this plaid DSP. Okay, so we've got our balloon. I'm going to use some dimensionals, and actually I'm going to bring in some white baker's twine, which I know we don't carry anymore, but you know what? I can't stop using it because it's one of my favorite products. But if you don't have it, you can use embroidery floss as well. So I just put a little bit of seal adhesive on there just to hold it down, and then I'm going to stick a couple dimensionals on here. Peel off the backing, and then add my balloon up here, and just a little dot of Tombow. Actually, I'm going to trim this so it's a little bit shorter. A little dot of Tombow on his hand, just to hold the ribbon so it looks like he's holding it. And then I've gone ahead and I've tied a tiny little bow with some white baker's twine, and just add a little bow right there. Okay, and now we need our greeting. So I've got another piece of Melon Mambo, and I'm going to use the Itty Bitty Birthday stamp set. This is another one of my favorites. I know you've heard me say that I love the Itty Bitty Christmas. I love all of the Itty Bitty sets. We've got Itty Bitty Birthdays, Itty Bitty Christmas, and Itty Bitty Greetings. I have them all, and I love them all because there's so much versatility in them. Okay, so I'm going to stamp Time to Celebrate, so this one on the outside, and then I'm going to use a couple different ones on the inside. I know, isn't it cute? I love it. It's so adorable, and it's, you know, it's so nice to be able to use a set that is intended for Christmas for something other than Christmas. It just adds to the versatility of it. Okay. Got that. I'll pull in my little trimmer. Trim this down so that it's just a little bit larger. angle cut these ends. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and just curl it a little bit so it's popped up on one side and flat on the other. And grab a mini dimensional to go under here, and then a regular, just regular flat adhesive on either side. And this is going to go right on here like that. Okay, so there, oh, hang on, we have one more thing to do on the outside. I'm going to take some of the blue adhesive back gems. This is from these are part of the Snowflake Splendor suite that is in the holiday catalog. And I'm going to use the darker ones and just add a little bit of bling. So if I did this in more masculine colors, which the blue is masculine, but because I added the pink balloon and the pink greeting, it makes it a little bit more feminine. So then I'd add the bling. If I was doing this for a masculine card, I may omit the bling. I think it looks good either way. Okay, so let's stamp something on the inside. All right, so now I've got the It's Your Day, which I'm going to stamp in Seaside Spray. So I want to pull in the colors that I've used on the outside. Well, a couple of them anyways. So It's Your Day is going to get stamped first. I got to stand up for this. And then Happy Birthday, I'm going to stamp in Melon Mambo. Actually, you know what? Let's bring in the pink. Yeah, that is Melon Mambo. I was going to say Misty Moon. I meant Misty Moonlight, but we're going to bring in the pink this time. So Melon Mambo. All right, and we are all done. We could add a little balloon on the inside too. Should we do that? Let's do that. Just to bring in a little bit of that celebration. Okay, so we'll grab another scrap twine. I might just leave that and not put adhesive on it. It looks kind of good where it's curled like that. I'm going to pop this up. Then it looks like it's floating too. Okay, and then I'll tie another little bow just to add to the balloon. So does anybody have any fun plans for the weekend? We are having my in-laws over. We're supposed to have turkey dinner, but we can't find a turkey. So we're just going to buy a couple little chickens and do chickens, but still have the stuffing and all the fixins. So we didn't get to celebrate Thanksgiving with them, so we're going to do it a little bit late. There we go. Look how cute that is on the inside. So fun. So there you go. So that's how you can use the Gnome for the holidays. So a more traditionally Christmas stamp set and make it a birthday. You could also do this one. You could take off the mistletoe and take off the, what is this, an ornament, and you can replace it with something different. You can have him holding something else. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything right now. But if you had something small, you could have him, you could have him holding pumpkin. That would be cute. Yeah, I'm sure there's other things too. If we had a little image that was like a basket of flowers, you could do something like that. So yeah, you could have him holding something else. He could even be holding a bouquet of balloons as well. So you could turn this guy into Christmas. She is a little bit more difficult unless you took her hat off and maybe put his hat on top. But I mean, you just get a little bit creative and you can do lots of things. Same with this, is you can omit those lights and then that doesn't need to be Christmassy either. All right, so one last reminder that this is the stamp set for this month's treasure box, and you get pre-cut cards to make 6, or pre-cut supplies. They're pre-cut and embossed, like everything that you need is in there to make 6 cards, 2 each of 3 different designs. And then here's a little peek at the 3 cards. They're super, super cute cards. All right, so Sunday is the deadline to sign up for that. I will have the link in the description above or below, depending on where you're watching this. And remember to comment and share if you want the opportunity to win this card. All right, thanks so much for watching. Oh, Amy, enjoy your Thanksgiving this weekend. That's right, you had moved on Thanksgiving weekend, right? Yeah, well, enjoy. All right, have a fabulous weekend, guys.